morning. In this video we are going to look at how to assemble a bone flute. Okay, so I'll start. This is the body, this is the foot. I'll just put the foot down for a second. So with the body, I want you to notice that first we have the keys, and then we have these rods. Now both the keys and the rods are reasonably malleable, so we don't want to grab them and bend them. So we hold the body at the top end, so I'm not touching any of the rods. Then I grab my foot. So here's my foot. Now it depends on your flute how tight it is, but if you can hold it just from the very bottom, and what you do is you align them completely in alignment. So we don't want to come at an angle like this because that will bend the metal. So as much as possible straight, and then once we've got them touching, we just screw. Now let's just say it was too tight for me to do that. What I can do is I can take the second key from the bottom. So your flute probably only has 2 keys, which would make it this top circle here. In mine it's this middle circle. So if I very carefully push this one down, now I'm pushing it down to try and stop there be any movement as I screw. And then I do exactly the same thing. So line them up really straight and then screw. Now I don't want, there's a rod on the body and there's a rod on the foot. I don't want them in a straight line with each other. What I want is I want the rod that's on the foot to be in line with the middle of the other key. So again, holding where it's safe and holding where it's safe, and I just screw it around till it's the middle of the key. Now, when you start playing, you might find your pinky's a different length to mine, or someone else's in a book that you've written. So what you can do is take the rod of the body and align it with the middle of the next key, which is a little bit further over. So here doesn't look like quite the middle in there. So there's a little bit of movement here. This doesn't need to be exactly in the middle. So usually either this rod being in the middle of this key, or this rod being in the middle of this key, that should cover most pinkies. But if your pinky's having to stretch straight or something to reach it, just move the foot a little bit closer to the pinky. You don't need to worry the first time you play if it's exactly right, because you'll get used to, as you get used to playing, you'll get used to where you want your pinky to go, and you can just adjust that one. Now the last thing is the head joint. So you'll notice the head joint has the hole that we blow across. So we're going to get our body and hold it in the same place where I said, where we're not touching the rod. And imagine that you're sweeping the floor. So I step back a bit, hold the head and the body like you are about to sweep. And that makes it easy to align it. So now the same thing, so we've got the hole here and the hole here, and we want to, as much as possible, put them in straight. We don't want to go like this. I see students doing that, and they're going to bend the metal there. It's not strong enough. So we hold it straight, and then the same thing, we just screw. So the next question is, what do we line this hole up with? Now again, this is a little bit debated. So a lot of books will go off Boehm's model, which was that this hole lines up with the straight keys. You'll notice that the keys aren't perfectly straight, but if we start with those first top 3 keys and these bottom 3 keys, and we line that head joint up so it's directly in line there. That's Boehm's model, which is in most beginner books. However, there is a better way, and that is to move this head joint so that its edge, I wonder if you can see, here we go, its edge is in line with the rod. So if I do there, I'm not sure if you can see me lining it up, but the edge is in line with this rod here. So the outer edge is in line with the rod. Now you can even go further and line the middle of the head with that rod. When I do the video on how to hold the flute and balancing the flute, I find this position, which I'm sometimes called the rock stroke position, actually produces a more balanced hand position here with everything in alignment. So your choices, but as a beginner, you can just pick one and run with it, and then later on you might go one way or the other. But so either the head in line with the keys, the head hole in line with those keys, or the head hole in line with the rod, with that outer edge being in line with the rod, and then or somewhere in between those. Whatever feels most comfortable when you watch the video how to balance the flute. Okay, have fun setting up your flute.